All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bloomerang Academy. We're glad you're joining us today. All right. Welcome to Bloomerang Academy. We're so glad you're joining us today. We are here today to talk about Don't Panic, Prepare for Giving Tuesday. So the big day is just around the corner. We're all really excited about that. So before we start, let's go ahead and if you would put into the chat and tell us where you're joining us from and what the weather is like where you are today. I hate to report this, but we're in Indianapolis where the weather is 28 degrees. So it is a very chilly day here in Indy for us. So hopefully it's warmer where you are, but let's go ahead and get started. So a few housekeeping items before we start. This is our dial-in number, and it is 1-669-900-6833, and I'll drop that in the chat in just a few minutes. But should you lose audio or if you need our dial-in audio service for anything, that is the number that you'll want to utilize. A few other housekeeping items. If you would like to have a transcript of what's being said today, please click on the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen and it will provide you with subtitles. We also have our chat, which is what you're using right now to let us know where you are and what the weather is like today for you. The chat is a great feature to be able to share ideas and thoughts with one another. Make sure it's set to everyone so that you're sending your message out to the whole group. But a lot of times you can put in there best practices or thoughts that you have. But should you have questions that you directly want to ask the instructors today, please put those into the Q&A so that we can see those. They kind of stand out better inside the Q&A for us. Also, anything that is mentioned in the session today will be linked in our slides, and we're going to be sending our slides out along with a recording at the end of our session today. Any questions that we are not able to answer live, we will definitely circle back to you so that we can get those questions answered for you. And if you have any questions that we don't get to right away, you can also submit those to support@bloomerang.com. Our support team is amazing, and they are happy to help you with any questions that you might have. So before we get started, we wanted to start off with a poll today. And our poll is, how prepared is your organization for Giving Tuesday this year? And you can see our options here. Ready to go, so excited. Tying up loose ends, not far off. Not where we want to be, a little concerned. Quite a bit behind and feeling stressed, or we're winging it this year. So go ahead and vote. We'll give you a couple moments to do that. Oh, we are all across the board today. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to give you one more minute here to answer. Almost everybody at this point. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let's end the poll. I'm going to share the results with you. So you can see that we really are all across the board. We've got 33% of us winging it this year, 25% tying up those loose ends, 17% for ready to go, and quite a bit behind, feeling stressed. And then we have 8% that are just not where they want to be and a little concerned. But the really cool thing is you're going to be able to get some great information no matter what category you ticked off today. We're going to be able to help you feel a little bit more prepared. That's our goal today, is help you feel a little bit more prepared for the big day. So I want to introduce my co-facilitator today, my partner in crime, Diana Otero, who is just a wonderful product marketing manager for Bloomerang and a wonderful person. She has been at Bloomerang for several years. She served on the board of the Nantahala Hiking Club, which is one of 31 trail maintaining clubs in the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. And it is a nonprofit that is driven and completely powered by volunteers. So Diana, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, Margie. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Margie, for that wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to be here with everyone today. And as Margie mentioned, I'm not doing this alone. She is actually co-presenting with me. And let me make sure I am sharing my screen. Are you seeing my screen, Margie?
Yes, I am.
Okay, lovely. As Margie mentioned, she is my partner in crime. She is our curriculum manager for Bloomerang and Kindful Academy here at Bloomerang. She serves on the board of the Peace Learning Center in Indianapolis and has worked extensively with nonprofits as both a staff member and a lead volunteer. Outside of work, her passions include education, theater, her 2 children, and her 2 small dogs. I don't know if the dogs are going to make an appearance today. We'll find out. Maybe we'll be lucky and they'll say hi. But today we'll be talking to you about don't panic, prepare for Giving Tuesday. Before we started, Margie and I were just talking about, I was reading an article that says less than 50% of nonprofits start preparing for Giving or about 50% of nonprofits start preparing for Giving Tuesday about 90 days before, with some preparing less than a month before and some preparing even a week before. So wherever you are, we saw from the poll that we've had a wide range. Wherever you are in that spectrum, we're glad that you're here, and we hope that what we talk about today is going to help. What is our agenda for today? We're going to start with some database settings. So most of you, if you're a little bit more advanced in your preparation, you might have already done this, but we might still tell you a couple of things that you might have missed. So it's always good to check. We'll also take a look at some email best practices. We'll take a look at how you can test your donation forms or the importance of testing your donation forms, what other plan channels you can take a look at to share your forms and really multiply your impact, as well as putting together a follow-up plan. And then a lot of our time today, we're going to devote to Q&A. We have an idea of what can help you prepare at this point in time, but we really want to focus on what do you need, and we'll try to address that. We'll also share a couple of resources at the end as well. As with any Academy class, you'll get an email with a link to the recording and slides. So all of the resources will be linked in the slides that we share with you today. So first, let's take a look at some database settings that you need to ensure that you're ready for Giving Tuesday. First, in terms of database setup in Bloomerang, you want to think about your campaigns and appeals. And just as a refresher for folks, campaigns are overarching efforts. So for example, this could be your capital campaign, your annual campaign. Those are typically the ones that you would see. Whereas appeals are asks or ways that the money is coming in. So think about how you're doing Giving Tuesday or how you're participating Giving Tuesday this year. Is it a big overarching effort where you start in the fall and it carries through to the end of your end of year? Then that might be a campaign. If it's just kind of a one-time thing or you're treating it separately from your end of year, that might just be an appeal. One thing to note, though, is if you want to be able to track the progress on your dashboard or on your mobile app, you can create that as a campaign, and then you can just refresh and see how you're doing towards the progress. We have some resources here linked for you. We'll go into the database and show this to you as well. But the important thing here is if you want to be able to track the progress of active campaigns with a goal on your dashboard, they need to be active and they need to have a goal. And you can click on View Transactions from your dashboard, and that will automatically take you to a report with the transactions given to that campaign. If you're using mobile, whether that's iOS or Android, you can just open up your app, swipe down, and that will automatically refresh as well. You won't have a click through to the reports, but you'll see the progress that you're making toward your goal. So just as a refresher, let's jump into the database real quick. You need to be an administrator in the database to get to your settings. So you want to make sure that your campaigns and appeals are set up appropriately. And in order for it to appear on the dashboard, it needs to be active. So that checkbox needs to be checked and you need to have a goal. The date range, it doesn't matter as much at this point. You can put a date range in there, but in order to track the progress on the dashboard, those are the two things that you need. It's active and you have a goal. And if you go into your dashboard and you scroll down here, you'll see for my database, we've already had a couple of gifts starting to come in for Giving Tuesday because we started a little bit earlier. So you can see the progress there and you can just click on this report and that will take you to the transactions. And now Margie's going to walk us through how to prepare your emails.
Great, thank you, Diana. So I am going to share my screen. All right, hopefully what you're seeing is a screen that says emails.
Yes.
Good, all right, all is well in the world. All right, so emails are a great way to communicate. Many people find that this is one of the best ways to communicate. It's quick, it's easy, you can do it in mass effort very, very simply. So Bloomerang has a lot of great features that you can utilize to simplify your email process. So let's talk though about your Giving Tuesday email plan. If you don't have one, get one, as Woody would say. You really need to have a Giving Tuesday plan of some sort. It doesn't have to be very complex. It can be quite simple. So I'm just going to walk you through some emails that you could help create that might be part of a plan that you could utilize for Giving Tuesday. And if you haven't thought about this yet, it is not too late. You will see that these are things you can do starting today. And they will help you be able to engage with people, your constituents, through the time period up to Giving Tuesday. So think about what will you send before Giving Tuesday to help your donors and stakeholders remember to ask others to give and to give themselves on that big day. What can you send the day up to encourage engagement and make engagement really simple for people so that it's just a very quick and easy thing for them to do? And what can you send as a follow-up to show gratitude? What kind of thank you will you send as well? And we're going to talk at the end a little bit about segmenting and really looking at sending some personal thank yous and some personal follow-ups as well. And then what's next? We don't want Giving Tuesday to be a one and done. We don't want people to be forgotten about after Giving Tuesday. So think about what kind of follow-up will happen in the weeks after Giving Tuesday as well. So excuse me, one of the features that's really great about Bloomerang is the ability to set up an email, schedule it, and forget it. And it will be sent, and you can filter it for different types of purposes. So I'm going to show you that in the database in just a little bit. But when you are in preview mode, when you're previewing the email, you do have the option to send now or schedule this for later. So this will be really convenient because we all know that on the big day, there's a lot going on and people are very, very busy. So being able to schedule that email in advance could be a real time saver and a real stress saver as well. One of the most important things about the emails that you're going to send is that you test everything in your emails, because if it doesn't work, we talk a lot about having frictionless experiences for our donors. If, for example, your donation button suddenly isn't working, you're going to lose donors because people will have to consider another step in order to get to the donation page for you. So you want to make sure that everything is working properly. And I'm going to show you some ideas about how to do that in our database as well. Consider sending your emails to a couple of other people in your organization so they can lay eyes on it, so they can test it as well to make sure that it works. Sometimes something works for the creator of the email and not as much for others. So make sure that you've sent it to some other people as well. Do a test donation. Highly recommend this. In just a moment, Diana's going to talk about your online forms, and she's going to talk a little more deeply about this, but make sure that you test that and make sure that everything is coming in correctly, the acknowledgement, the back end information, everything is flowing correctly. This is really vital. So now I'm going to go into the demo database, and we're going to go, here's your dashboard just to, oh, I guess I was busy beforehand. I'm going to save this and go to email home. Let's do that. I was going to go to email home anyway. So if you're on your dashboard, remember emails is right over here on the left. So you're going to click that and it's going to take you to this page that is your email home. This is where you're going to see all of your email templates. Now I have set up some emails specifically for Giving Tuesday. We have a lot of classes on how to do emails, so I'm not going to go on a deep dive into that today. What I'm going to be looking at is just some thoughts, really quick snippets of ideas around preparing that email plan for Giving Tuesday. So I have put together a pre-Giving Tuesday email that I'm going to send out to everyone. My whole database gets this, and it's going to talk about ways that they can give. I have also put together a Giving Tuesday donation request. So I'm going to request that donation on the big day. I have also put together a Giving Tuesday donation thank you, which is going to be the thing that I send as a thank you to them when they donate. And then a 2022 post thank you Giving Tuesday message. This is one that I would really strongly consider segmenting, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the session today. But I just want to show you these really quickly. So let's go into our pre-Giving Tuesday email. I've already designed these out. Designing these is really simple. Inside Bloomerang, we have some great ways to be able to, and we have lots of classes on that. But you can see that for this pre-Giving Tuesday email, this is the one that I would say you send right now. You, as soon as you get off here, get into your database, send this out right now. This is the one that's going to remind people to engage with you on Giving Tuesday. So at the top, you want to talk about how you need their help, how you need them to be able to help spread the word. You want to talk about ways that they can get involved. And then you want to also consider, like, this is linked, right? So if I go here, I can link and you can put in a link to your donation page. Make it as easy as possible for people to get to your donation page. Also put in your social tags, whatever you can do to make it simple for people to be able to pass this message along and spread the word to others so that they can join them now. So for this one, I would say we're going to go here. We're going to go to preview. And for this one, I would say send it now. So that one I would click send now. Okay. It's going to send it. Are you absolutely sure that yes, I want to send this right now to everyone in my database. Okay. So that has gone out. And if I go back and click here, I'm going to be able to see. And I think I'll just do myself. I'm one of my best donors. And I actually see right here that I have a mass email that went out to me. Okay, so, and I can click in here and you can see the big day is almost here. I can actually click on the email and I can see that that went out. So I have gotten that. That's wonderful. All right, so that's your pre-giving, right? That's the one that you're going to send out now. What about the next one? Well, let's look at our donation request. This is the one that you'll send on the big day, okay? So this one you want to put together. This will go out on Giving Tuesday. And you can see here, this one's a little more complex. I've put in a really nice donation button. That's this over here. You just click and drag. The donation button is linked to my giving page, all right? I also have a video down here that explains more about my organization. It doesn't actually, but pretend. This is a demo. So it's actually really great. This is a great one to talk about sending yourself that test email because you want to make sure that the links work. So right here, I'm going to click send test. And you can see I can put up to 3 email addresses in here. This is where I put myself. Maybe I'd put Diana. Maybe I'd put someone else outside the organization that I'm warning that I'm testing this with them. And I'm going to send it. Now, to save time, I went ahead because sometimes things don't come in as fast. And I already sent this to myself earlier. So here is the one. This is actually the test in my inbox. Now, I'm going to click on Donate Today because this is important. I need to make sure that this comes up as the link to my giving page, and it does. The thing I would recommend here is put in a donation and submit it. Make sure that everything's working on the back end. And I know Diana's going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few moments. So make sure that everything is working properly on that email for your constituents. All right. So the next email I want to talk about is the thank you email. So let's say somebody has donated. This one can actually be linked into your online giving form if you want to do that so that it sends automatically. Or you can also use filters to send it as well. This one I have some complications because I'm going to put merge fields in here, right? So these are all merge fields, the informal name, your donation on, last transaction date, in the amount of, last transaction amount. So these are going to be important to make sure these are filling correctly out of my Bloomerang database. Okay, so if I send a test email, I want to show you what that looks like. Let me go back. Hopefully, oh, you can see I got all these notifications that my my send went out. So that's pretty cool, right? So if I look inside here, let's see. If I send myself a test email, I do have a little issue. I can't see if my merge fields have actually worked correctly or not. And so for me, I want to make sure that that is actually working correctly. So what I can do is I can go to preview. It's still not going to show here just yet. Okay, but when I go into preview mode, if I have somebody in my database that has actually completed this, has actually done this, then I can see it. And so what I did was I actually went in and entered on my account, on my own profile. I put in that I'd made a donation of $1 on the 29th, and you can see that it's actually filling in correctly. Now, the way I did that, because of the fact that no one has given yet, because it's not the dates. And let me go back and show you. I didn't show you the filters. So the way I filtered this, because this is going to be the thank you, it's going to happen after Giving Tuesday. No one has done that yet. No one has donated because Giving Tuesday isn't here yet. So my workaround for seeing the merge fields, because of the fact that these filters are set up to recognize a donation, a pledge payment, or a recurring payment that is between 11:28 and 11:30. So I'm only recognizing Giving Tuesday. You may want to extend it. It depends on your organization. And the acknowledgement status is no. So it hasn't been acknowledged yet. So of course, because of those dates, I wasn't able to see that. But if I go here, and this is a cheat. I went in and actually put in a false donation so that I could see that. So that's one way to do it. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's one way to do it. So that is really important, that filtering. Make sure that you're filtering it for the date, the time periods that you want, for the donation types that you want to be recognized for that thank you. And then after that, that's the last email that I've set up for my plan, is this post thank you Giving Tuesday message. So this is the one that's going to happen maybe 3 or 4 weeks after Giving Tuesday has occurred. Who makes our work possible? You. I'm going to talk about, because you donated, here are the things that happened. Here's the impact that you made. I'm also going to talk about different ways that they can engage with our organization. Maybe they can volunteer, and I put a button here where they can go and sign up for volunteer activities. Maybe I want to send out a survey. How was your experience with us? What are other things we could be doing? And I put a link to a survey here. So this is another way to engage your constituents and your donors and really talk to them and find out more about them, but also tell them about what you're doing and share the impact, because you want them to not just be a Giving Tuesday donor, you want them to be an ongoing donor. So this is another one. And we're going to talk at the end of the session a little bit more about really personalizing this and being able to send this in a very segmented way so that you're really considering the person who's receiving it and that message so that it goes to them in a very direct way. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Diana, who is now going to talk to you about online forms.
Okay, sorry, I lost the unmute button there for a second. That's a lot of thanks for those tips, Margie. Another tip that you can think of as well is, so it's great that you can filter by those dates, or if you're starting a little bit earlier, and maybe some people might give earlier than that date, or some people are giving a little bit later, you can also filter for that campaign or appeal that you set up to track those donations. So think about how you're tracking those donations, when are you sending those emails, when are you expecting those gifts to come in, and you can adjust your filters accordingly. Lovely. All right, let's talk about your online forms. Margie hinted to this a little bit earlier as well. You know, when you're sending out your emails, really what you're doing is driving them to your forms. So in order to check how that experience is going to look, I've kind of broken this down into three things. First, you want to take a look at some technical considerations. One, two, how you can maximize your revenue, and two, really looking at it from the donor experience. Now, in terms of the technical considerations, some things to check for are, is your website secure? So an easy way to tell this is if you look at the URL, does it say HTTP or HTTPS? Or depending on the browser, you might see a lock icon in that URL. If it's HTTPS or it has that lock icon, your website is secure. If your website isn't secure, don't worry. Bloomerang hosts a version of your form on a secure portal, so you're still able to use Bloomerang forms. Instead of having the form directly on your website, though, you're going to get that button that links to that secure portal. Another thing to take a look at is, does your website load quickly so visitors don't get frustrated and leave before completing their donations? For most of the nonprofits that are out there, they'll get a lot of traffic during Giving Tuesday itself. So you'll want to make sure that your website doesn't slow down because of that traffic. I've linked some resources here where you can check the speed of your website. And if it looks like images might be slowing down your site, you can also try an image optimizer. And I have a free one that's linked over here as well. So make sure to check those, right? Not just you too, but have a couple of people check and see what their experience is like. Another thing you want to do is you want to maximize your revenue. For example, does your donation form offer recurring donations? For Bloomerang forms, that's always going to be a yes, because they have the option to make their donation recurring. You can have additional controls that you can enable. For example, you can allow donor to set the frequency and the start date. This speaks to what Margie was saying earlier about, you don't want Giving Tuesday to be a one-off thing that your donors participate in. You know, if they come to your website because of Giving Tuesday and, you know, they are moved to make a recurring donation, then it starts the relationship earlier as well. Another thing you can take a look at is, do you allow donors to cover the processing fees? If you're using a Bloomerang form, this is an option that's available for you, but you need to enable it. So you're going to go into your online giving form and click on that checkbox so that the donor has the option to cover as much of cover the processing fees. So more of the donation goes to your organization. You can also take a look at your impact statements. We'll take a look at that when we get into the form. And are donations properly processed through your payment processor? Do you get notifications when a donation is made? The third thing you want to look at is you want to put on your donor hat. I know All of you are wearing multiple hats already, but you want to put on your donor hat and see what the experience for the donor is like. First of all, is it easy to find? Is it easy for website visitors to find your online donation form? Most of the time, if you're sending them an email, you're linking them directly to your form, but you might get folks who happen to go on your website. You want to make sure that your donation form is easy to see and they can donate. Is your website mobile friendly? And is it easy to make a donation from a phone? So don't just check the web experience, check the mobile experience too. About 25% of online donations are made through a mobile device. So you want to check that experience. What payment options do you offer? Do you offer credit card? Do you offer EFT? If you're using Kindful fundraising tools, you might also be able to, or you'll have access to Apple Pay or Google Pay. What are the different ways in which donors can give to your organization? Does your donation form properly total and display donation amounts? You want to make sure that it's accurate, and does the donor receive an email receipt and thank you message after their donation is processed? I mentioned earlier that you want to check if your organization receives an email letting you know. You also want to check the donor experience and see if they're getting it. So we have a screenshot here that shows you the difference. So the confirmation email is what the donor receives. The notification email is what your organization receives. So just to recap really quickly, go into settings, website integration, online giving forms. If you haven't already created one, this is where you would create it as well. If you've already created one, like myself, I'm just going to go into my form, check, yep, the form is active, processor. I have a confirmation email, a personalized confirmation email going out to donors, notification email. The email address listed in your organizations is automatically going to be included. If you need to notify more people that donations are coming in, you can add up to 10 additional email addresses. Is it going to the right fund, campaign, appeal? Are you allowing them more donation options? Do you have your donation levels set? Research shows if you have an impact statement, donors are more likely to give, and they're more likely to increase their donation as well because they see the impact that it's making. Do you have any custom fields that you want to add? Are there additional information you want to get about the donor? A caution about this though is you want less things to fill out. You want the donor to click on that submit button or that donate button. So be careful about adding too many custom fields to your form. Are there information that you want to collect now versus you can collect them later on? Remember, you want the donor to get to that donate button. If you change anything on your forms, make sure just to click next. Take a look at your success page. The success page is what they see on screen immediately after donating. So if you have a specific page for Giving Tuesday, you can redirect them to a different URL or just build some messaging in here. Very important here, this is a good lead in to our next section as well. If you are using social media, fill out those social media sharing options. I personally love this tweet button because, there's a pre-filled tweet text that says, when I make a donation on a donation page, it prompts me to say, hey, I just made a donation to this organization. You should too. And it automatically includes the link to your donation form. So I, as the donor, can easily share to my friends your donation form. So if you're using social media, make sure to fill that out. Again, any changes that you make sure you're clicking all the way through to save and preview. If the donation's already on your website, all the changes that you made will inherit those changes. And of course, once you check the back end, check the donor experience. Go to the form itself, make a donation, even if it's just $1, or you can refund it if you need to. Check the donation form on your phone. Make sure the experience is the way you would want it to be for your donors. And we mentioned this earlier, right? You want to maximize and multiply your impact. How else are you sharing your forms? We talked about emails, which according to, I forget now, but there's a survey last year about over 70% have said that email has been their most effective channel for bringing donations in for Giving Tuesday. But how else can you multiply your impact and share your forms? You want to try to expand your reach. Ask your team. Can your team or board or volunteers share posts about your campaign? Maybe you have community partners that would be willing to share tagged content. It doesn't cost them anything. All you're asking them to do is share your donation forms. Also, ask your supporters. As I mentioned earlier, checking those social media sharing options on your form is a quick and easy way. You don't even need to ask them separately to do that. It will automatically prompt them to do so. Or when you send out your donation thank you email, try including a call to action in those emails to say, thank you so much for giving. If you want to multiply your impact, an easy way to do that is to share our form with your friends. Never underestimate the power of a share. Now's the time to rally your team and get your group of social ambassadors together to help amplify your message. And of course, you can also share your Bloomerang donation form on Facebook. We have a video linked here, but you can take the URL of your Bloomerang form, schedule a post to go out on Facebook to say, we're participating in Giving Tuesday. Here's a link to our donation form. And again, your supporters can share from there. And of course, this leads us up to Giving Tuesday itself. But as Margie mentioned earlier, you don't want to stop there. You want to have a follow-up plan. And Margie's going to walk us through that.
Awesome. So yes, thank you, Diana. Great information. So a follow-up plan is really important because, as we said, we want to continue to engage the donors that come to us on Giving Tuesday. They care about our mission. Let's continue to engage them in our mission. So segmenting is a great way to be able to do that. There are so many ways to segment your donors. I'm going to talk about one way, and I want to encourage you, as I'm talking, I want you to be thinking about other ways that you could segment your donors. So this is a very simple way to do this. And the reason that you want to segment is because you want to be able to personalize and individualize your message. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So when you finish with Giving Tuesday and you have all of your donors and donations in, you can run a report and find out what was the average donation amount. And then you take that amount and you segment your donors, who gave above the amount and who gave below the amount. Then after that, you can look at new donors versus repeat donors, and you can segment again. So what you end up with is kind of this 4 block of donors. You have your new donor above average, repeat donor above average donation, new donor below average donation, and repeat donor below average donation. Now, each one of these will get a specialized message because each one of them is coming to you from a different place. So your new donor who gave above average, this is someone who really seems to care about your mission. Something spoke to them. Something made them really engage in this way. So maybe consider calling them. Maybe this is one of those instances where you go above and beyond because they went above and beyond. So think about starting to build that relationship with them and really give them something more personalized. Or maybe in your email, you tell a special story that will help them understand even deeper about your mission. What about repeat donors above average donation amount? Maybe do something special for them too. These are people who've already donated to you and then they gave again and above average on Giving Tuesday. So maybe think about a video inside the email. You can insert videos. We have different partners that help with that. And we also, you could do it yourself with your Bloomerang database. So recognize that they've gone above and beyond, maybe by just taking the time to record a simple video that thanks them for their extra effort. What about a new donor who's given below the average donation? Well, recognize that this is their first time giving to you and thank them for that. Explain how it's going to be used. Maybe they need to learn a little bit more about your mission. It's a great opportunity to educate them on what is going to happen with the funds that they've donated. And then also tell them a story and set the stage for what's coming next. Talk about ways that they can engage with your organization, maybe through volunteering or through other means. Maybe that's something where they can engage in a different way and learn more about your organization. And then what about the repeat donor who's below the average donation? This might be an instance where you want to consider reaching out for feedback. Maybe this is someone who has had something occur. Maybe they're having some issues and you want to be able to talk to them. Maybe they want to be able to talk to you about your organization and what's happening. So that's one of those where it might be good for a personal outreach as well. But like I said, there are so many ways to segment your donors. And of course, we use filtering to do that. We have a lot of sessions on filtering on Academy, but you can filter your donors and then be able to communicate with them individually according to that. So what are some other ways? I'm encouraging you to join in the chat with us here. What are some other ways that you can think of that you could segment your donors? And just type those in the chat for us. Think about some other types of ways that donors might differ and that the message might differ. You didn't know I was going to do this to you, did you? What about volunteers? Could it possibly be that volunteers would have a different type of message, right? They are people who are inside your walls all the time, so it might be different for them. I see that Akila says donors that give early versus after a few emails have been very good. Akila, I like that too, right? So maybe those are those donors that give early are the ones that are very anxious and engaged, and maybe the ones that kind of take a little while, you might need to be stewarding them a little bit more. I see that Carissa says we're doing crowdfunding for Giving Tuesday this year, so we may acknowledge team leaders differently. I love that, Carissa. Yes, your team leaders are engaging with you in a very, very passionate and deep way, and so you want to recognize that. You don't want them to get the form the form contact. You want this to be something special. So I love that. That's a great idea. And I love that you're doing crowdfunding. That's wonderful. I think that's a great way to utilize, as Diana was talking about, utilize those personal asks, people's networks. That's a great idea. Any other thoughts around that? What about social media followers? Can anyone think of a way that maybe, why would it be maybe good to segment people who follow you on social? Would that be an interesting idea? I think it would, I think it would, because I think what would happen is you might be able to really get them on board with the idea of doing what Diana was talking about, sharing out those social pieces, right? And really getting people to engage through those platforms as well. So I encourage you to just think about what are some other ways that you can get your donors a personalized message, and really filter for that, and then send those emails so that they feel like they've had a really personalized touch. All right, so Diana, I think we're ready for Q&A.
Absolutely.
Oh, I see that Akila says that for Giving Tuesday, they're doing a call to action for tagging bars and signing up for a Zoom call. It's a way for us to get bar goers contact info. That is fascinating. I want to hear more about that afterwards. That just sounds amazing to me. I love that. Talk about innovation.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that too. One thing we love about our Bloomerang Academy sessions, of course, is we're only one or two people here, but there's so much more of you out there. And, however many of you are attending, that's however many ideas at least are going to be out there. So thank you for sharing that insight. That's lovely. Cool. So that's all the content we prepared for you today. As we mentioned, these are some tips and tricks that we think will help you prepare for the big day. But really, this is your time, and we want to be able to help you with what are some of the things maybe you're not sure about, or you're running into a roadblock. Let us know, and hopefully we'll be able to help you. Also, go ahead.
No, while we're waiting, I just realized that I didn't show something. So if I can go back and show it very quickly, I do see we have a Q&A that just came in. I told you all that I would share with you and I was looking at my notes, I would share with you how to schedule an email, and then I blew right past that. So I think I'm going to go back in and show you how to schedule an email, because that's kind of important. So your donation request email would be a good one to schedule. So let's look at that. That's going to be one that you send on the big day. So you probably want to be able to schedule that. So you go to Save and Preview. Okay. And when you're in preview mode, you have the option to send over here. And I did talk about sending now for the one that we had earlier, but if you hit schedule for later, this is such a great thing. You're able to say schedule once. We want to send this on the big day. And I'm going to pick Giving Tuesday, which we all know is the 29th. And I get to pick the time. So I'm going to land this in people's email boxes at 10 a.m. And I hit Save and Schedule. And then right here, if I hover over this, you can see on the 29th at 10 a.m., this is going to be sent. And I set it up to send to all my donors in my database. So it will go out to everyone, and I don't have to think about it. So it's something that really makes just one more thing off my plate. So I did want to share that. Go ahead, Diana. I apologize.
You're absolutely fine. I was just looking at Cynthia's question. Because Cynthia's asking, will you be providing Giving Tuesday templates? Great question. One, in your Bloomerang database, if you go to emails and then click new, you can select Giving Tuesday templates. Margie's going to show us here in a little bit. Those are all, so if you click new and then Giving Tuesday template, these are already available in your database. All you need to do is go in there and personalize it for your organization. So you're going to see there parts where it says, put your impact here or put the amounts here. So that's available for you to personalize. I'll also share a couple of links. I'll put it in the chat here. This is called, this is a Giving Tuesday timeline for your nonprofit. Now, I know we're a little bit closer to Giving Tuesday now than what's already given on this timeline. But it's still helpful to take a look at, okay, which of these things on this checklist do I want to do, and which are not applicable for our organization, or maybe we'll take a look at doing for next year. Another great resource with a lot of templates is the Giving Tuesday website, givingtuesday.org. They have sample communication timelines. They have sample social media posts. They even have sample social media images and templates that you can download and personalize for your organization. So check those resources out, and we'll make sure they're linked in the slides too, so you have them after. Great question.
Yeah, Carissa was noting that the dates on those templates were set for 2021. So make sure that you check that. That was a great catch, Carissa. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Are there any other questions, thoughts, comments?
I did want to call out again, I love what Margie said, that it's saving you time on day of, but also saving you stress on day of. So we hope that this helps you kind of think about what you can do before the day of the event or before Giving Tuesday itself, so you don't have to think about that anymore. And definitely make use of those things like scheduling things in advance so that you don't have to think about that during the day itself.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll because I know that some people have to get going, and I really want to hear feedback from folks because this is a different session for us and we were really excited to prepare it. So if you could just let us know, how much more prepared do you feel for Giving Tuesday after attending this session? And it won't hurt our feelings, be honest. So if you could just let us know, do you feel, hopefully you feel a little bit more prepared, but we just want some honest feedback on this. Thank you. I see 2 people, and we'd love to have everybody that's on participate with us if possible. But we hope that it was helpful to you, because we know that you have so much else on your plates. Giving Tuesday is just one more thing on top of everything that you already do every day in your organization. So we want to help in any way we can to utilize your Bloomerang database and other resources. Diana's great at pulling in outside resources, anything that we can give you to help make this easier.
Great, thank you. Carissa says, we were already pretty prepared already, so this just confirmed a lot for us. Thank you for a great session. Absolutely. Even if all this does today is validate that you've been doing the right thing already, that's perfect.
Wonderful. We are going to be sharing some resources with you, as Diana mentioned. There's so much here that will be able to help you as well. And I encourage you to look through these and really utilize some of these, because they will help you out as well. Also, of course, don't forget, anytime you're in your Bloomerang database, that little question mark is there for you. You can contact our support team, and they are amazing. They will help you with specific questions that you have. So we just want to thank you for attending, for being a part of this, and for everything you do every day in your communities. The work you do is vital, and we know that. And so thank you very much. We really greatly appreciate it.
Thanks. We hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend too. Happy Friday, everyone.
Thank you.